The first time Candice saw Damon Reed, she felt it before she understood it, an unsettling pull, like gravity shifting in a room that suddenly became too quiet. It was at a CID behavioral seminar, the kind packed with detectives, analysts, and agents sharpening their instincts against the shadows of human nature. She stood near the stage, scanning the crowd with her usual calm, when her eyes locked onto his. Damon didn't look away. He didn't blink. He watched her with the kind of focus predators reserved for prey they had already chosen. Candice had profiled narcissists before, men who believed the world was made for them, who thought love was possession, who disguised obsession as destiny. But Damon was different. His confidence wasn't loud, it was cold and smooth, like a blade without a scratch. The more she tried to ignore him, the more she felt the heat of his stare crawl up her spine. When he finally approached her, the air seemed to shift in a way she couldn't explain. His smile was too calm. His voice too gentle. Every gesture was controlled, rehearsed, intentional. "You see into people," he told her. "But I wonder, who sees into you?" It wasn't flirtation. It was intrusion. A small red flag flickered in her mind, yet she didn't pull away. A mistake she would later replay countless times. Over the next days, he appeared in places that made no sense. The quiet cafe where she went to decompress. The bookstore aisle where she browsed criminal psychology in solitude. The jogging trail she thought no one knew she used. Every time, he acted surprised, too surprised. Too perfectly timed. His eyes lit up in a way that suggested he had been waiting for her, studying her, memorizing her patterns like a lover memorizes a favorite song. Candice felt the tension building around her life like a net drawing tight. At first, she told herself it was coincidence. Then she told herself she could handle it. She had dealt with worse. She had walked into killers' minds and walked out whole. But Damon wasn't a case file. He was a presence, silent, persistent, intoxicating in the way danger often is to those who spend their lives chasing it. One evening, rain hammered the sidewalks in sharp, cold sheets as she walked home. Her instincts prickled, that subtle alarm she had learned never to ignore. By the time she reached her building's hallway, she sensed someone behind her, a slow, steady pace matching hers. She turned. Damon stood there, soaked, smiling through the dim light. "You shouldn't be alone," he said softly, as if he had a right to worry. As if he belonged there. Candice stepped back, pulse quickening. He didn't move. "You study monsters," he whispered. "But you never look at the part of you that attracts them." His voice wrapped around her like smoke, dangerous, seductive, poisonous. She ordered him to leave, but Damon only tilted his head, eyes gleaming with a promise she didn't want. "I see you, Candice. The real you. And I'm not going anywhere." In that moment, the truth hit her like a cold blade. This wasn't admiration. This wasn't interest. This was a narcissist's love, the kind that doesn't end until something breaks. And she felt, deep in the hollow of her chest, that the breaking had already begun. Candice tried to shake Damon's presence from her thoughts, but obsession leaves fingerprints on the mind that don't fade easily. She reported the hallway encounter to CID, but even as she spoke the words aloud, she felt the unsettling weight of his gaze lingering inside her memory. CID assigned 2 agents to keep an eye on her routines, though Damon seemed one step ahead, as if he had memorized every possible move they could make. The flowers he once sent without a name began arriving with notes carved in chilling precision. "You're safest when you're watched." The meaning twisted through her like a blade. One night, While reviewing case files in her apartment, she noticed her laptop camera light flicker on for half a second. Too quick to confirm, too late to ignore. She froze, her breath held hostage in her chest. CID's tech team tore through her devices the next morning and found traces of intrusion, nothing obvious, nothing direct, but enough to confirm someone had been there. Someone careful. Someone who didn't need access to feel close to her. Damon wasn't stalking her life, he was infiltrating it. As CID dug deeper, fragments of Damon's past surfaced like bones rising after a storm. 3 women, all with striking similarities to Candice, had filed harassment reports in other states. None had enough evidence for charges. 2 had moved cities. 1 had vanished without explanation. Every trail CID followed ended in a clean-cut void, as if Damon had anticipated their every step and erased himself before they arrived. Candice felt the walls around her tightening. Damon didn't want to hurt her. Not physically. His obsession wasn't violence, it was control. Psychological possession. Every message he left wasn't a threat, it was a declaration. A claim. And the most terrifying part was the realization she couldn't escape. He wasn't watching her from the shadows anymore. The trap was simple on paper but deadly in execution. Candice would follow her normal routine, alone, unguarded, exposed, an irresistible invitation for a man like Damon Reed. CID agents hid in unmarked cars, cameras were placed discreetly along the stretch of the abandoned pier, and a silent command channel stayed open. But Candice knew something the others didn't. Damon didn't follow patterns. He created them. He studied human weakness like scripture. If he sensed even a crack in the setup, he'd disappear again, slipping into the dark where law couldn't touch him. Rain slicked the wood beneath her feet as she reached the end of the pier. The sky was a heavy bruise overhead, humming with electricity. She stood alone, letting the cold wind lash at her coat. Seconds stretched. Then minutes. Nothing. She wondered if this time she had finally lost him. Then she felt it, the shift in the air. The soft scrape of a shoe behind her. "You came alone," Damon said, his voice almost tender. "I knew you would." Candice turned slowly. He looked different in the rain, darker, sharper, a man stripped of his masks. His hair clung to his forehead, his eyes burning with something twisted between devotion and madness. "You set a trap," he whispered. "For me." He stepped closer, smiling as if she'd confessed love instead of strategy. "That means you think of me. That means I matter." Candice held her ground, her voice steady even as her pulse thrashed. "This ends tonight, Damon." He tilted his head, disappointment flickering across his face. "Love doesn't end. You should know that." Before he could reach her, CID agents stormed the pier, shouts cracking the night. Damon didn't run. He lunged, not to attack, but to touch her, to claim one last moment. Agents tackled him hard, pinning him against the wet boards as he laughed, a low, chilling sound. As they pulled him away in cuffs, Damon lifted his head, meeting her eyes with an unbroken promise. "This isn't goodbye, Candice. Love like mine survives anything." The rain drowned his voice, but the echo stayed with her long after he was gone.